Assuming the worst motives of the capitalist says, I can lobby the state to raise barriers to entry, selectively enforce regulations, require new companies to be approved by a regulating board that I have in my back pocket, etc. I want just enough state to legislate profits, but not too much that the proletariat rushes my factory. I want a sweet spot between the Democrats and Republicans, so I will donate back and forth to Republicans and Democrats to maintain parity between the parties and stay in that sweet spot. So here's a little continuum I drew to help see through the game. Free market on one end, the total state on another, and anything in between is fascism. I'm not talking about welfare services or tax rates, I'm talking about the means of production. And by fascism, I mean a state-corporate partnership with lots and lots of regulations and licenses and approval boards that the corporations use to prevent competition from forming. Most people today are fascists, and let me say that again. Most people today are fascists. Fascism, in the economic sense, has won the day. But fascism really screws the consumer. In fact, that's the whole point. In a democracy, the consumers can vote. And this is a bad thing. Democracy is a very horrible thing, but it is something that the capitalist must take into account. And so the Democrat and Republican Party keep the voters going back and forth and back and forth. This is why the bailouts passed with due haste, but the direct state control of medical services has stalled. And again, don't misunderstand me, state-run medical services would make things much worse and is positively horrible, but the capitalists do oppose it because it leans too far toward the total state side of the equation, away from that sweet spot. I dislike Republicans on a lot of things, most odious of which are the wars and then immigration and then the social issues, but they are better than Democrats on this scale, this means of production thing. And I really oppose Democrats on this. Nothing is worse than the total state, and I hate the state. The fascist state leads to things like a war in Iraq and Afghanistan, but these things all must be futzed around with. The capitalist has to play all these tricks and games and pull the wool over eyes of millions of people with the media and all that stuff, where with the total state, the statists can engage in exploitation directly. And this is where you get the megadeaths. The coercive monopoly of the total state is a cure worse than the disease. And this explains why Hitler got so much support from big business in Germany, though it appears to me that the capitalists misjudged Hitler, who was further to the total state side of things and not in that sweet spot. So anyone who supports the Democrat or Republican Party or advocates a mixed economy or a social market or whatever, this is what they're advocating. They're playing right into the hands of the corporations. They are corporate dupes and they don't support freedom. Most people today are corporate dupes. There is one way out of this, and that way is freedom.